so the ants see what's going on down there, because they got their bed right where those potatoes are at. So I don't like putting pesticides out if possible. Fire ants or something else. You usually can take gas, take a stick or something other and put a hole down there and pour gas. Well, I'm not going to do that with my potatoes right here. So I did put some ant killer there. That goes ahead and gets them calmed down, so I can go ahead while I get the potatoes out of this bed. As we take a look at this bed right here, we can see the potato plants are dying back. We don't want to put a food source for the ants if possible, and we don't know what we're going to get. Only thing we know, we should go ahead and get them out of here and to see what is actually taking place. It was just sprinkling again, lots of rain. Of course, again, it's not going to hurt it here. Those potatoes right there are uncovered, so they're turning green. If it turns green, that green part you don't want to eat, because it can make you sick. It can they say it's like poison, but you can cut that off right there and eat the rest of the potato. All the rains we had, it probably just got uncovered. Look at here. I didn't even know these were here, but I noticed the soil. It looks different, like it's been chopped up. Now watch this. I hate these things. And I guarantee you this bed, this ant bed right here, is really deep. That's why I don't like leaving my potatoes here on the southeast coast of North Carolina. I don't like leaving them in the ground very long, because they'll get devoured by the ants or bitten up. So we don't know what these are going to look like. That's why in the garden I really didn't want to leave them out there, because of the ants. Don't see them in the garden, but they're up under the soil. While we got them stirred up, and I don't like doing this, but I got to do what I got to do. We got to start getting a look at that. They'll eat you up. And all they'll do is stay right there anyhow. So this is my Sun Green gardening knife. And so the good thing about this is that, see, I dug down a while ago. So having this garden knife is really good. And they'll go hunting for you. I hope there's none right there. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Look at that. See, that's what I'm saying. They're all down there. So what I'm gonna do, try to do, if I don't get eat up, is go ahead and pull these vines out. Stir the nest. Oh, well, wait, maybe they're not too bad in this one. They're there. I see them. Yeah, they're right there as potatoes. Crazy. These are my Yukon Gold. Now, I can't really see any ant bites, but I haven't got this potato. Got an ant crawling on my leg. I haven't washed this potato off to really see. Yep, they're starting to eat on them. You see that little speck right there? That is an ant bite. Most time you can't tell the damage until you start washing these potatoes off. And there's the one right there. So we're definitely going to get them out. See, we're ants down here too. Oh my God, are you kidding me? Ants over here. It's crazy. I'm telling you, this thing is crazy. And see, if I don't deal with this now, what's going to happen is that they're just going to take over this bed. I'll have to come back in here and dig down into this bed, because ants, I mean, this whole bed is filled up with fire ants. They're everywhere, and I've gotten bit 4 times, twice on my hands. One bit through my glove, and then one crawled up my leg. No, 2 crawled up my leg. So I'll have to come back in here and dig around. So this is why I don't garden like everybody else or what everybody else says. I try, and it's more or less a failure for me. I don't know why. It's just the way it is. Maybe it's, to me, common sense. But I notice on the potatoes are getting white specks. Definitely past time of getting these potatoes out of here. And so here, and you'll see ants. They're just crawling all over this bed. Bad sized potatoes. They're really, see, that right there is telling me it's getting too much water. Ants on my hand. Wait a minute, I gotta get this off. So I'm itching really bad. I find out if you don't scratch them, give it some time, you can deal with it, then you will they'll stop itching. Right now, yeah, it's on fire and it itches. So yeah, not bad. Definitely, see that right there's colored. Definitely should have been out of here. This is what I'm talking about, that green. I feel like I'm on fire. I'm trying not to scratch. I can only imagine what it would be like to have these things, your whole body covered. So if I can just give it about 5 or 10 minutes, it'll stop itching those that bit me. I find out also if you don't scratch it that it doesn't make as much whelps or scarring. But this is our conclusion on these beds right here of potatoes. So definitely I'm gonna follow my ways, my path of harvesting potatoes, because doing it other people's ways doesn't work. That's why I tell people, you got to learn your area. You've got to get out there and do it. You've got to learn just by experience. Following somebody else might not work for you, and it definitely doesn't work for me. So I would say these potatoes needed to be gotten up 2 weeks ago, which is when I wanted to get them up. So as I think about these potatoes into the garden, I'm like, man, I hope they're okay. But you know what? I really did this to prove a point to myself. Sometimes in life, you've got to do things to prove a point to yourself. No matter what other people say, or no matter what a person says to you, you got to do it to prove it to yourself. And my point is proven to myself. And so from here on out, I will dig my potatoes when I see fit that they need to be dug up. It's like a natural instinct for me. And then knowing my area, knowing the weather patterns. We got more rain coming in. It was sprinkling. The humidity's like kicking it out here. It's hot, it's humid. The sun is starting to blaze. We haven't even hit summer yet. We're in the middle of May, and I can't imagine what it's gonna be like. So, but anyways, thank you very much. Just want to show you this potato harvest from these raised beds. Why I harvest my potatoes at a certain time and not let these plants die out. If I dug them up when they were still green, same time I did the other ones into the garden, and I try to, like I said, I try to prove it to myself, you know, since they're into the raised beds. Can I just leave them in there and let the plants die out? Well, the answer for me is no, I can't. Giving it another week, like I wanted to wait, just to prove a point to myself, it would just been a mess in there. So now what I'm gonna do is take my gardening knife and I'm gonna stir around in there. As much as I hate it, I'm gonna have to put something in there because these beds are big. That's like 2.5 or 2 feet. No, that's about 2.5. And this bed is almost 3 feet tall, 8 feet. So that's pretty big to be getting ants into. And the same way with the other one. The other one's 8 feet long. I think it's 4 feet. But that's a pretty big bed to be getting ants into it and not maintain it, not do something other to take control of an invasive species. So usually when I have ants, I'll just stir them up and walk away, and that helps out a lot. There's ants in here. They're probably at the bottom now, getting away from that sun. Too much rain, too much water. So I noticed after washing these off, the reason to wash them off because of all those ants, normally I will go ahead and just store them because I want the dirt onto them. But I've got plenty of potatoes, and I'm going to have to get them canned. We'll let these sit here for a little bit, and actually my itching and my burning is going down now. So about 10 minutes. So we'll let these sit right here a little bit, get some of these water off of them. If it has soil onto it, I'm not worried about it. I'll take and kind of move them around a little bit, make sure that water gets off of there. So we have dug the Yukon Gold up, and I want you to take a look at these potatoes. What 2 weeks makes a difference into the garden, 2 weeks. So we planted these potatoes February 14th, and now it's May the 17th. So we're at 93 days. So I learned some things through this process, and I want to show you. So you see my potatoes are still green. My potato plants are still green. 93 days, Yukon Gold, and this is the harvest of the potatoes. The ground is still wet. Now this has been tilled up today, but the ground is still wet, and we got rain coming into a day. Now 2 weeks made a difference in the size of these potatoes. That's what I like to see. That's a harvest right there. Look at that. If the potatoes could stay in the ground a little bit longer, then the skins on it would toughen up a little bit more. This is what I was saying if you watch my videos about the potatoes, and you see the soil is still wet, and it's been laying here probably about maybe 15 minutes, so it's starting to dry a little bit. But this is, having the potatoes into the ground and then starting to dig them up because of the weather or the elements, then you see why I'm so used to having huge potatoes. I can grow some potatoes, but the problem I've gotten is that my pH always jumps up. You don't want to eat that green right there. You want to cut it off. My pH jumps off. Seems like the last 2 weeks before harvest time, and it puts out an alligator type skin, which is not going to store very well. Which it doesn't really matter too much because this is a lot of potatoes. I got more potatoes this year than I did last year, and I got a lot of potatoes last year. But they won't store very well, and I'll just end up putting them up, and I've got so many potatoes now to put up. But all these potatoes, or taters, we call them taters here, but all these potatoes are nice size, no complaints. Even the little ones, these make good eating. If you can cook them, wash them off real good. You can eat them with the skins on because it takes 2 weeks for the skins to cure. That is the ant bite. I didn't have too many ant bites. I had more of a pH problem. So that is putting me into an area that I need to plan a little bit better. Now, this is the row that these potatoes were dug up till there. That is a lot of potatoes. This is up on higher ground, and it worked out good up on higher ground. But getting past that, we get into very wet soil, and you can tell that the soil is still wet, but having it up on higher ground makes a difference. That's why I always put my potatoes up on a high hill at the begin with. I never plant them flat. maybe at that level, because you see the algae is on top of that hasn't been tilled up yet. That's how much rain we've had. So I always put my potatoes up onto a high hill, and that always helps me out. That saves me. So my thing is, I've got to plan ahead with my potatoes. With the pH, I'm going to have to go ahead and map out where I'm going to plant the potatoes and put less fertilizer into that area. So what did I learn? I learned that I need to plan ahead. I need to map out in my garden where I'm going to plant my potatoes. The thing of it is, if I go vertical, then when I get to the very end down there, the ground is low. If I go horizontal, I go down that way, then the land is low. So maybe I can try planting it into a square, into a block like I do corn, and see if I can get better results as far as it goes with the rains. We don't know, because every year is differently, but the harvest came out good. 93 days, and these potatoes look fantastic except for the pH. And I'm just going to have to plan ahead and make sure that I don't put too much fertilizer down. And like, I'm pretty sure I did come out here when I thought we was getting all that rain and throw fertilizer out, not fertilize those potatoes anymore. Leave them alone, and I think it'll work out for the good. So, not bad. We got rain in one day, but that's a nice size potato. A little funky looking. That's because it grew together, but it's still a nice size potato.